Trinity. I would like to go to Proverbs today, specifically Proverbs 16:7, which says, "When a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him." That's an interesting piece of wisdom for this week, isn't it? This idea that if our ways please the Lord, then that will lead to even our enemies being at peace with us. Most people in the country can currently point at who their enemies are, and there are millions of them, roughly either 70 or 74 million of them, and it's hard to imagine many people being at peace with their enemies at the moment. However, it's important to realize that this is a piece of biblical wisdom. Biblical wisdom is true, but it's true in a little bit different way than, for example, a promise that we might read in a book of prophecy or an epistle or a statement about Jesus and his life and death. It's true in that this is truth we can live by. It really is God's word. It's not a promise that it will always turn out exactly this way at the moment we want it to. You think about Jesus. We know that his ways please the Lord. And yet his enemies, at least at the time, were not at peace with him. They put him to death. Was that because Jesus didn't please the Lord? No. Does that mean that this verse is untrue? No. It's true in that it really is a call to live in a way that pleases the Lord and to not be surprised. In fact, to hope, even expect, that if our ways really please the Lord, it's possible to be at peace with our enemies. There will be exceptions, like Jesus' enemies. Sometimes people will sin against us. Sometimes we put some wisdom in place, but the fact is our own sin gets in the way of the start, leading to exactly what Proverbs would lead us to hope. And yet, this is a line from God's word, and this is true biblical wisdom because it does show us what generally happens when the world is working right, and more specifically, how we can live as we are looking to the judge and the king, who is ultimately right. When a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him.